Welcome, everybody, to the Falcon Paladin Hour. I am here with Wade. Welcome to the second edition of this podcast. Thanks to everybody who subscribed already. And if you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. We're committed to doing this every single week. Just an hour a week, not too much of a commitment. And let's get right on into it here. How are things going, Wade?
Pretty good. How are you?
Doing pretty well. Glad to hear the numbers as far as the subs go on this podcast. Look to see if those will grow, and I think they will over time here. So I think last time we teased that we were going to talk about E3, which was last week. At this point, there's been some time for people to digest what they've seen, get some reactions out. We may be a little bit late to the party, but I think we can add some interesting things here too. And for those of you who didn't follow E3, maybe this is the first time you're going to hear about some of the games that were announced. And I guess for those of you who don't know, I guess we should maybe just start at the ground floor here. E3 is just a gaming convention. They just talk about games that are coming out in the future. New consoles are announced as well. All the big players are there: Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft, Bethesda, Rockstar Games. I mean, everybody's there. A lot of the indie stuff as well. For a while, I don't know if you remember this, but they stopped allowing fans to attend E3 for a certain amount of time. Do you remember this?
I do vaguely remember this. I remember more that they shut it down for a few years. Like, it just didn't happen because they thought it was getting too big and noisy.
Right, yes. So it did disappear for a while. There was also 1 year or two, I can't remember, where they didn't allow fans to come in. It was just industry insiders, like people who work directly for the gaming industry. And then they said that was a really bad idea. we need the energy. We need the energy of the fans to make E3 what it is. And since then, it's been a big deal. So anyway, that's E3. It came out, it was last week, over a few days. It was all streamed on Twitch, which when did they start doing that?
Pass. I don't know that they're doing it, and so people have been watching. I know.
Yeah, it might be the first year, actually.
No, I don't think it's the first year, because I know Total Biscuit and his wife last year also rehosted the stream and then snarked over it, and they did the same thing this year. I know this because while I was catching up on the conferences, I accidentally clicked onto their Sony one for last year, and I'm like, this looks awfully familiar, but there's a British man talking at me.
I need to check that out. I like Total Biscuit a lot. I think that'd be fun.
It is very fun.
Indeed. All right. So I guess the first thing I kind of want to do is maybe what was the game or the announcement that most impressed you at E3 this year?
It's a toss-up between Anthem and Wolfenstein 2.
Okay, I'm with you on Wolfenstein 2. It looks ridiculously cool. We'll talk about that in a second. Sell me on Anthem. It just kind of looks like a Destiny Halo hybrid.
Yeah,
and so
that's basically why I like it, because it looks like a better Destiny. And I put I think 400 hours into the original Destiny before I basically had to stop playing. I'm happy for there to be competition for Destiny 2. So.
Okay, so there we go. That is the why. If you're a fan of Destiny, if you're a fan of Halo, this is the best of both worlds, and it will be better. I mean, it says it's from BioWare, but let's be honest, BioWare is basically EA right now. They were bought out. They were changed.
Yeah.
If it was real, like straight up BioWare from back in the day, I might be a little bit more excited, but because that's the thing with Destiny, right? I think I mentioned last time on the podcast, I'm a sucker for lore and for story and stuff, and from what I've heard about Destiny, it's a little short on those things. It kind of pretends like there's a big whole story and stuff going on, but in the end, it's a little shallow in that area. Is that a fair characterization?
100% accurate.
Okay.
You can summarize the story of the original Destiny as go to this website instead. Because that's literally what they told you to do. They had a system where you collect grimoire cards, which were just like little lore tidbits. Like, you'd fight an enemy and be like, these are the fallen. And then at the bottom it'd say, for the full story, go to grimoire.com/Destiny or something.
Oh, yeah. That's not great.
And there were cutscenes where there were characters who I literally don't have time to tell you why I don't have time to explain what's going on. Just go over here and shoot some stuff.
Okay, so yeah, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that Anthem does better with the story thing. I mean, because right, reading about it, it's an alien world where humanity has been driven to the brink of extinction and lives behind a walled city. I mean, that might just be as far as they take it, but it looks absolutely gorgeous. Like, I am blown away by some of these gameplay trailers and videos that we saw at E3. So if nothing else, I'm expecting beauty, but we have been misled by beautiful trailers in the past.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, does anyone remember Watch Dogs?
Oh, Watch Dogs. What a disappointment. Yeah.
Yeah. Battlefront 2 looks really good, but again, Battlefront 2 looks really good, but the first one's gameplay was kind of rubbish, and there was no story in a Star Wars game. Come on, come on.
I was so excited. I was like, yes, Battlefront with new generation graphics and updated for the 2010s. And then they're like, it's multiplayer only. And I was like, I'm out.
Yeah, I played.
I'm gone.
I played in the beta, and it was just like, I just can't do this. I need to be alone in Star Wars sometimes, and not have people, spawn camp me with sniper rifles.
Because yes, that's what the bad thing about multiplayer is that you get spawn camped by people with sniper rifles in every multiplayer game you ever play. Even if there aren't sniper rifles, they'll get them in there somehow. So yeah, Battlefront, very excited about that, especially with that story. If they have one, again, it's if they have one, because it's EA.
They will have a story in Battlefront 2. They already said that they would, but they didn't show any of it at E3.
That's what I'm worried about. That's all I'm saying. They could backtrack a little bit. Okay, so the Star Wars has a special place in my heart. If that has a story, I'm probably going to get it. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Well, let's just say that. So, okay, so for me, it was a toss-up between many, many things, but I think the biggest thing that got the most buzz was Mario Odyssey. As far as people that I've talked to, what I saw on Reddit, like the Reddits love Mario Odyssey so much. And I'm not sure if it's just because they're all Nintendo fanboys or what. But I think part of what they enjoy about it is that it's so madcap. It's so crazy. It's so envelope pushing, where Mario is in a real world, where Mario can possess you by throwing his hat onto your head. And now you are Mario. And there's just a lot of philosophical questions about how that works exactly. And there's dinosaurs and there's frogs, and just the trailer just overwhelms you so much. And I think that's part of what is driving a lot of the hype about this game. Because there's just so much to talk about.
I would have to agree. Only I don't own any Nintendo consoles, just one Nintendo DS that I constantly think about throwing at a brick wall because I have no games for. And haven't played a Mario game since the Super Mario Brothers 2 on the Game Boy Color.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you never played like the Wii Super Mario Brothers with the 4 players and
haven't touched
it. Okay. So you are a little out on the Mario universe.
Yeah, just a little.
Nintendo universe in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like just watching the gameplay trailer, it's like you can be a fish, you can be a gun turret. There's a part where you play a guitar and wear a sombrero, and it looks like you're part of a mariachi band. Like, it's just so insane. We're just used to Mario being a little safe, right?
Yeah, as like the spokes character for Nintendo.
Yeah.
He's usually kind of bland. They went wacky with Splatoon being Kid Ink Squid mix thing, but Mario's usually just been, I'm going to jump down pipes and collect coins. He hasn't been possessing people like a ghost.
No, and he's never had a game set in the human world, like the human world, which is where this is. It's like in a city, like a New York City set. And so you're right. I mean, Mario has been more about beautiful visuals, incredibly tight gameplay, good gameplay mechanics, good music. It's just pretty. It's kind of the Blizzard of the console world a little bit. Not that Overwatch isn't a console game, but it's just that's what they've been known for. And so to take this chance and have all the same thing, have the pretty visuals and the catchy music and the likable characters, and then do really crazy stuff with it, I just don't think I've ever seen it before. So that's why it's getting the attention that it's getting.
Yeah, and the Mario Rabbids crossover.
Oh, I forgot about the Rabbids. You are absolutely correct. The Rabbids is also insane. What did I see? I saw this really funny cartoon where it's like, "Hey, Rayman, how's it going?" It's like, "Oh, Mario, I haven't seen you in a while. We were interested in doing a crossover game with your world and ours." And Rayman's like, "Great, let's do this thing." Like, actually, all we need is the Rabbids. And he's like, "What?" And then Mario like traipses off happily with all the Rabbids, and Rayman like cries himself to sleep.
Oh, jeez.
So yeah, that's what we did. We brought of all the things we take for the Rayman universe, which is a wonderfully diverse and beautiful and fun place, the rabbits are the last thing I thought they'd bring over. So again, another choice where Nintendo is being intentionally very, very weird. There is a rabbit who looks like Princess Peach, which is incredibly disturbing. I believe she has her own Tumblr or Twitter account right now. Somebody linked to on Kotaku the other day, and it's going to give me nightmares.
They gave a rabbit a Twitter account or a Tumblr account.
Specifically the Peach rabbit.
Oh, okay.
Not just anyone. The one that looks like Peach, that wears her dress.
Do the rabbits talk? Like, do they have much to say?
Okay, now you're making me look this up and make sure I didn't fever dream it.
Because I could have sworn the rabbits just kind of talk in, like, made-up speak and, gobbledygook, basically, where you can't actually understand them. So what would they say on a social media account?
That's an excellent question.
Let
me see if I can.
I bet they know that.
They do. They absolutely do. So not Princess Peach. God, what is it? I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look it up. I'll have a link for us at some point here. But so yeah, that's insane. That's just straight up crazy banana pants. That's gonna be a lot of fun. What else? What else really caught my fancy? One thing that caught my fancy was no talk about Last of Us 2. I was totally expecting at least they already have a teaser for Last of Us 2. They've got a little 2-minute video. Yeah, 2-minute video with Ellie and Joel shows up, and it's just this conversation, and it's really cryptic. And there's already like 18 fan theories about what's going on because, of course. But I was expecting like, hey, here's another something, but they didn't even talk about it, and it makes me sad because Last of Us is one of the best games I've ever played.
Never played it.
And you probably should. I mean, you'd have to get a PlayStation 3 because it's an exclusive. Do you have one of those?
I have a PlayStation 3, but there is a PlayStation 4 remake where it will run at 60 frames per second.
That is true. Yeah. You have a PlayStation 4?
No.
Okay. So in that case, let's get you the PlayStation 3 version. But you can get it on, I don't know, eBay. For, I guess eBay Australia though. $20. Here's a $5 copy on eBay. I mean,
I might even just borrow it off someone who already has it, because a lot of my friends are just like, we're going to hoard our games. We don't want to trade them in.
Oh.
Why do you need discs anymore? I haven't bought a disc game in forever.
Oh, me neither. But if they have it, that'd be great. That's why you have discs, is so you can lend them to your friends. It's hard to lend digital stuff, it turns out.
I think the last games that I lent on discs, I've never gotten back. So, yeah.
So that's why you don't lend stuff. I see.
That's why I now have an entirely digital movie library instead of buying DVDs. Which annoys me because last week you recommended I watch Memento. And I cannot find it anywhere to stream or buy digitally. I have to go and buy a DVD.
There are certain movies like that where you can't find it on any streaming service because I don't know if it's licensing issues or what. Yeah, you're right. I usually use Vudu for my streaming service, and it's not there. Memento is not there. Where?
I checked. What? iTunes has it, but it's not available in Australia. Google Play Store has it, but it's not available in Australia. Australian Netflix doesn't have it, and the Xbox Digital Store does not have it.
Region locking.
Yeah.
Oh no. Okay, so it is Google Play has it. It just hates your country.
Yeah.
Is how this works.
Because there are lots of movies I just cannot get digitally.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, do your best. We'll talk about that later.
Yep.
Anyway, so Last of Us. It is. I loved it. I loved it when I first played it. It is like incredibly emotionally heart-wrenching. The characters are 100% real as far as I'm concerned. Like I buy those characters so hard. And I read this thing about it a while ago that explained what it is that's so good, and it really caught my attention. It's that a lot of games try to be cinematic. They try to give a balance between gameplay and being a movie versus giving you exploration versus putting you on a rail. And a lot of players kind of try to straddle that line and don't do either one super well. But what Last of Us did is it put you on a rail. Pretty much, it gave you the illusion of open world, but you're following a very set path and just did it so well and so beautifully and so effectively you didn't notice. And that is the magic of that game. So I'm not going to spoil anything else. I'm not going to tell you anything else about it, but it is seriously one of my top 5 games of all time. And Last of Us 2 is going to get me to buy a PlayStation 4 when it comes out. So the fact that there wasn't a trailer at E3 bums me out.
That's, well, fair enough.
Okay, so let's talk Wolfenstein. What did you like about that?
Neo-Nazis, like shooting neo-Nazis in the face with giant wolf robots that breathe fire.
It's hard to argue with that.
There's no real counter argument to that.
No.
But I was a big fan of the first one. I kind of liked Old Blood, but I didn't finish it, I think, because I played it on Xbox rather than PC. Yeah, and the dual wielding, like shotguns and machine guns, it's super fun shooter action with a relatively nice story to go along with it, which I believe was actually 2 stories in the first one, because depending on a choice you made at the start, you got 2 separate stories.
It'd branch out on you. Yeah.
Which normally it's like, yeah, you can pick either one, but it's basically the same thing, just a different character. Apparently it was a big departure depending on who you picked.
That sounds very interesting. I do like that, when choice actually has consequence.
Yeah, so I'm hoping there's more of that in Wolfenstein 2.
Okay, so here's what appeals to me about the story from Wolfenstein 2 as a red-blooded, super arrogant American, is this concept that the Nazis have taken America over, but good luck with that. We're going to fight you off. We're going to win this thing. We're going to go guerrilla warfare on you. And we're going to win this thing from the inside because you can't conquer America. Like, it just gets all that side of me, like, totally riled up. And I'm sure I'm not alone in that sentiment.
Yeah, I'm sure lots of Americans would be very riled up if there were Nazis taking over America.
In a very literal sense, yeah.
I do love that it's kind of stuck in the past with their theme and aesthetic. I really love if you... in the trailer when I keep saying you as if though you're playing, but you're not. Because it's a scene where it's in first person and like the commandant or whatever walks in and orders a milkshake.
Yeah.
I just love that scene. That was like super intense with like the kid being like, not really understanding, but the woman's old enough to know that we should get out before some stuff goes down.
She's terrified. Yeah, and it's like this 1950s ice cream shop from like back in Americana that doesn't exist anymore. Like, it's not in America anymore, really, for the most part. But then all the technologies, like portable nuclear missile launchers and all that stuff. Yeah, it's an interesting decision to have that kind of a theme for sure. But yeah, also looks pretty. I mean, you're looking at it, you're looking at the facial models, you're looking at the movements. The lighting looks fantastic. But again, we've been fooled before, so I just want to see what we get when everything pops out with this game.
Yeah, like all games with E3, you're gonna have to wait and just hope that it actually comes out looking something similar to how it's being presented. Yeah,
it's sad, but we've been fooled enough times that you would just be stupid to not set your expectations a little bit low based on that. All right, so that's Wolfenstein, which it's crazy to me we're still getting Wolfenstein games, because I played like the original Wolfenstein game on my grandparents' Apple IIgs computer back in 1988. Whoa. And it was brutal visually. It looked terrible, but you basically start out as a prisoner of the Nazis and you have to escape. You can steal uniforms and guns, and bullet scarcity was a real thing. And it was a pretty intense, like, as far as concept went, it was really advanced for its time. It just looked like dog because it was 1988 and it was on an Apple IIgs. So anyway, it surprises me, like, it still kind of shocks me to this day. We're still getting new Wolfenstein games, but I guess people don't get tired of killing Nazis.
We're still getting Quake games.
That's true. Not quite as old as the Wolfenstein franchise, but definitely older than dirt.
I mean, when you think about it, the three of the biggest games that are coming out, well, were shown, were Quake, Doom, and Wolfenstein.
3 of the oldest first-person shooter franchises in the history of the world. Yes, absolutely true. Ooh, let's talk Assassin's Creed Origins.
Oh, you mean Assassin's Witcher Skyrim Origins? Yep.
Yeah, that one.
Yep.
In Egypt. Don't forget that it's in Egypt.
In Egypt, of course. Because nothing's more interesting than climbing than a pyramid.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about, right? I fell in love with the Assassin's Creed franchise in 2. Assassin's Creed 1 is a lot of fun. It's kind of repetitive. It's like 4 hours of gameplay. It's kind of a proof of concept. But 2 is where they really went nuts with it. And it's set in places like Rome and Valencia and Italian cities where it is the funnest thing in the world to go nuts on these buildings and jump off them. But then you're right. With a pyramid, you get to the top and you jump and you splat on the side of the pyramid because you're not clearing that thing. It's like 800 feet tall.
Exactly. You can't have a bale of hay just halfway up a pyramid.
A magical bale of hay. So I loved 2. 3 was a little bit just because Connor as the main character was a little boring. He didn't really have a personality except he wanted revenge, which is hard.
Yeah. And 4 was excellent and spawned basically 2 games that got shown at E3.
Yes. Assassin's Creed Pirates is the best Pirates game ever made.
Oh,
and it is not an Assassin's Creed game. It is a Pirates game they decided to make. And it's amazing. It's so incredible to me. They took this franchise and they're like, how can we switch this up? I don't know, Pirates, I guess? Sure, let's do Pirates. And they knocked it out of the park. I think it's a lot of people's favorite pirate or Assassin's Creed game, and it's not even really an Assassin's Creed game.
The worst parts about that game are the parts where you have to be an assassin.
Yes.
I never actually finished the game because I just got tired of being an assassin in that game. I just want to be a pirate. Stop gating me behind assassin's bullshit.
Yes, and it's partially because all the buildings in Assassin's Creed Pirates are 2 stories tall. Sometimes, if you're lucky, one has 3 stories, and it's just not the same as cavorting around huge Italian cities or just cities across Europe in general. Revelations was in Spain, I believe. And that was the best part, which is parkouring like a crazy person. And you can't do it when there are 4 buildings in the town and all of them are 1 story high. So that is an obstacle for Assassin's Creed Egypt.
I don't know how I feel about the weapon system now, where you pick up and find weapons with varying attack. Which is why I call it Sky Witcher Rim.
Yes, Witcher does. I mean, a lot of games do that, but yes, Witcher's probably one of the better examples of it. Where you're just looking for incremental upgrades to what you have based on the dudes that you're killing. Which, I mean, here's the thing. With Assassin's Creed, like, that kind of started with 2. You could get upgrades to your weapons in Assassin's Creed 2 and on. But I was like, okay, as long as I can jump off a building with my hidden blade and knife somebody in the neck and one-shot them no matter what they're wearing, I don't think I need anything else. So I didn't bother with any of the other special swords or special shooting arrows or daggers or anything. I was just like, you know what? I'm assassinate everybody because that's what I am. Exactly. So I'm hoping that can work in Assassin's Creed Egypt, where it's just like I have the hidden blade. I can one-shot everything if I'm careful enough about it and stealthy enough, and if I get caught, I can just bail. But I don't know. They might force you into using weapons with situations that require, sword usage, in which case, I don't know. I'll probably stick with it, though.
Yeah, I mean, I might give it a try. I skipped Syndicate and Rogue, so I think it's time to come back to it.
How about Unity? Did you play that one?
For about a minute.
Did you get it when it was early and everything sucked?
I got it after, the 2nd or 3rd patch, and it still didn't work for me.
Ooh, yeah. That's brutal. Okay, so understandable. Because I stayed away from Unity as well because it was so troubled early on that I even skipped. Yeah, I skipped Rogue. I skipped Syndicate, which by all accounts, I've got a friend at work who she is in love with Syndicate. Some of her favorite characters are in that one, and the gameplay is really fun. So I might pull that one up when the Steam summer sale hits here anytime now. I'm just waiting on that. Mm-hmm. And I'll try the Syndicate, and then maybe that will roll me into in the mood to get Egypt when it comes out.
Or it'll burn you out that you never want to touch it again.
Entirely possible. I get 60 hours into it and be like, no more Assassins. One thing I am really excited about, though, is the Eagle Vision with a literal eagle, right? Yeah. Like you have a hawk that you basically look through their eyes and scouts places out. That sounds kind of fun. Yeah. And it's been done. I know it's been done.
Yeah, they nabbed it from Far Cry Primal.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's how you build genres. Stealing mechanics.
Well, it's okay. The phrase I like to use is everything is a remix. And this is something I think you can watch. I think it's on YouTube, I think. But there's this guy who goes through and kind of exhaustively tries to prove that everything is a remix. Every song you've ever heard is borrowing something from somebody. And every movie you've ever seen and book you've ever read is borrowing something from somebody. There's no such thing as true, out-of-nowhere creation. So yeah, that's how stuff is built. You look and see what other games have done. They've done well. You borrow it, you improve on it, and then somebody else does the same thing to you in 5 years, and we just repeat the cycle.
I have no problem with people doing that because how can I?
Everyone's guilty of it. If you've created anything you've borrowed from somebody else somewhere, you can't avoid it. It's impossible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, we are.
I don't know what else to say to that.
No, it's hard when you agree on podcasts because then it's like everything dies. It's like, oh, there's no debate about this at all.
Although I did see on Twitter that you're hyped for Spider-Man.
Yeah, I am kind of hyped for Spider-Man. I mean, it's basically the Batman Arkham series with a Spider-Man skin, which is fine because the Batman Arkham series is really fun stuff. Batman Arkham Asylum is also one of my favorite games of the last forever. Just because I felt like Batman, on if that explains it enough. And this game, based on the gameplay that I've seen, which again could be a total lie, I think it makes you feel like Spider-Man.
There was a Spider-Man game on the 360 that had 1,200 collectibles.
Whoa.
And I think I found them all.
Just because you loved the free roam so much. Yeah.
And I don't think I played more than 5% of the story.
Right. You just spent all your time running around picking stuff up.
Yeah, because the combat was basically garbage. But the new one, it looks fun because it's Arkham style. Yeah.
Yeah, Arkham style. And what I like, it just seems like you have a lot of creative possibilities when taking down bad guys. It's not like either you can kick them or punch them or wrap them up in your web, the end, which is a lot of Spider-Man games have been in the past. This one's like you can stick them on a wall, you can throw them on the ground, you can use that girder over there and swing it into 4 of the guys and kill them because, let's not lie, that would kill people.
Yeah.
Even though Spider-Man doesn't kill, just like Batman doesn't kill.
He just runs them over with his car at 100 miles per hour.
There's that. Okay, quick Batman rant. Even when he's not running him over with his car, like in Batman Arkham City, he will fight the dudes in the middle of the night in winter outside. There's snow on the ground. He'll knock them unconscious, break 3 of their 4 limbs, and leave them on the ground. They're gonna die.
Yeah.
Like, they are effectively dead at that point. Batman can tell me all he wants. He doesn't kill people. That is a way you kill people. You're morally responsible for those deaths, Batman.
I don't kill people. I just leave them in a position where they die pretty easily.
Yeah. It's like, I don't kill people. I just tie people to chairs and put them in the middle of freeways. Yeah. I know it's the cars that are doing it. But you share some responsibility here.
Have you seen Batman vs. Superman?
I have not. I'm not a Zack Snyder fan.
Okay, don't worry. You're saving yourself a lot of trouble. But Batman kills an awful lot of people in that.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. And I mean, like, not even like in a roundabout yet very direct way. He just straight up kills people
with his car.
Yeah. So there's really this whole thing. Batman doesn't kill. Whoever's currently running the storylines and how Batman operates doesn't agree with that 100%.
Wasn't the original Detective Comics Batman just a guy who ran around with a gun?
Yes, I think original Batman did have a gun. I mean, this is like the 30s and 40s, though. I mean, we're looking... Yeah, I read this thing. It was on Gizmodo. Let me take a look here. Golden Age Batman is what they call it. And, Detective Comics number 33. He straight up starts using guns, and he shoots people down. So, yep.
Definitely not.
You are correct. People. Definitely not killing people with guns. He's probably just shooting them in the leg, giving them flesh wounds, and they'll be fine. They'll totally heal 100% from that.
Rubber bullets.
Yes, beanbag shots, I'm sure, which they had in the 40s. No, they didn't. Anyways, so the other thing I like about Spider-Man is I feel like they got the Spider-Man character right, which a lot of games struggle with, and movies too. I mean, I think Peter Parker is initially identifiable with people because he's just a dude. Like, he starts out as a high school student, or he's a college student, or he's just a struggling newspaper photographer, which, hey, there's a lot of prestige there. He never has any money. He can't pay the rent. He's not doing this for the glory of it. He doesn't get any glory from it. And his life generally sucks. And so he expresses that through extreme amounts of sarcasm and quipping. And I feel like they did that pretty well in the game, in the trailer that we saw, the gameplay trailer. How much of that is gameplay, we don't know, where he's just put upon, people are telling him what to do, nobody really respects him, he's putting his life on the line for the city, and he gets pretty much nothing in return, which I think is the core of the Spider-Man character.
Yep. It's hard to argue, you make such a good point.
Plus one, says Wade. Do we have a +1 button? Yeah, we'll make a sound, it'll just be a bell. Ding!
Yeah, need to get
when one of us agrees.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so quick break. I found the Instagram feed with the rabbit.
Oh,
I'm
it's
gonna
an
put it in.
Instagram feed.
Okay, I want to include this because it is terrifying. Check it out later. And yes, if you're listening, click that link because it will give you waking nightmares. All right. So that's enough for that. Okay, so Spider-Man. What else? There's a new Minecraft I don't care about. My kids might be stoked, but who knows?
4K and it looks prettier. Don't really
It's
care.
no, it's Minecraft.
New Xbox One.
Yeah, which appropriately we're like 35 minutes into this and haven't mentioned that yet
Yeah.
because I think it got buried. I think they're like, check out this hardware. And everybody's like, we don't care. What can it do? Like, show us.
It's got a teraflops.
They said 4K like 18 times in a 3-minute span.
People were playing a 4K drinking game.
Yep.
Every
and
time
they're all dead.
They are all dead. It's fact they all died from alcohol poisoning before finished announcing the Xbox One X 4K.
18 shots in 87 seconds. They're all dead. Yeah, it's very sad. But yeah, we don't care. Like, congratulations, your hardware specs are kind of comparable to a gaming PC from 3 years ago. Like, that's amazing. Way to go, guys. The whole point of the console is that you can really focus down what you're doing with the hardware to work for the games that are being written for your hardware, which is nice. You can do that. And so you can have lesser hardware than gaming stuff and look really pretty. But don't tell us about the hardware when it's not that impressive to anybody who knows what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't think anyone who's like just an Xbox player really knows what a teraflop is.
That's the thing. Okay, yeah, so that's it. So people who know what you're talking about don't care because they're not impressed, and people that do care what you're talking about because they're Xbox fanboys don't understand what you're talking about. So why do it this way, Microsoft?
Last E3, you said you were making a commitment to bring back Microsoft into PC gaming. What you've done is told us some stuff we don't care about, neglected the stuff we do care about. Like, they only mentioned 60 FPS on one game, which was Forza Motorsport 7. And
Yes.
people who you already have probably don't understand. They might go and look up, but not really find that information useful for why they should spend another $650 to buy another console that they essentially already have.
Yep.
Frustrating.
It is very frustrating. I don't understand who's running the show over there. I don't get it.
It's doubly annoying for me because I have to put up with it because my digital movie and TV library is on Xbox. So I can watch it through my PC, but if I want to sit down on the couch and watch it, I need to have an Xbox.
Ooh, Far Cry 5. We mentioned the Far Cry series, not this one in specific, though. Okay, again, we're going to get this out of the way. It's beautiful. It looks absolutely gorgeous. I've been to Montana. That is Montana.
That dog.
Yeah, can I get a dog that takes the weapons from the enemies I just murdered and brings it back to me? That's all I want from a dog.
That is ideal man's best friend right there.
Yeah. Okay, so the one thing I'm not a huge fan of is this whole team building concept. What I like about the Far Cry series is that a one-man wrecking crew, can murder 87,000 people in this country where I don't belong, and they can't do anything about it. That is the power fantasy, right? So part of me is like, I just want to do it on my own, but it sure seems like the game is set up to be like, you need this dude with a bus, you need the sniper, you need the guy with a plane to drop bombs on your enemies, or this is not going to go well for you. And I'm like, I don't want to rely on these people. Let me do it on my own.
They're going to fall into a very similar trap that Halo 5 did, where they're going, oh, your team is your weapon, but where they could be used, you literally have to aim and click a button that isn't just shoot your gun. So if you want to kill this guy by the plane with dropping bombs on him, you might as well just shoot your gun.
Yeah. Well, that's how I've played Far Cry in the past. I played it until I get a sniper rifle, and then I snipe everyone to death from a mile away, and they never see it coming, and it never gets old. That is all I want to do.
So they're going to give you all these AI partners that you have to babysit. But
Well, okay, so that's the thing. With AI that you have to babysit, either you make them invincible, because it sucks to have your escort person die because of something you had no control over, or they make them squishy and they die easy and you get frustrated. It's hard to do it in a realistic way where they can take damage, but it's balanced enough to where they're not going to die if you don't pay attention every second. And no one's really done it well. So I'm really interested to see how Far Cry 5 decides to tackle that one.
yeah, I think they'll just give them a reasonable amount of health and give a down system where they'll take
Yeah.
a drop down. You've got to go over there and hold A to revive them for 30 seconds or something.
Yeah, that's a pretty good compromise. I'm not going to complain too much about that.
I mean, I'll complain because I would rather be alone with my dog.
That's true. Give me a dog. Give me a dog who retrieves weapons and maybe tackles guys and bites them in the throat every once in a while, and I'll be happy.
Yeah, that dog, best part of Fallout 4.
True, which I haven't played, but by golly, dog meat lives on the internet. Very strong presence out there. Another notable miss was Red Dead Redemption 2, which they've announced and then said nothing about it. It's like, dudes, what's going on? Just do the Metroid thing, right? All Metroid was here is a Metroid splash screen. We're coming back, and everybody went nuts for it. Just do that. Just acknowledge you're working on this thing. You've already announced you're making progress. Give us a 30-second clip and call it good. I just don't know why this is impossible.
They know people want it. Just show them something.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be amazing. We don't need a 5-minute Spider-Man gameplay trailer out of the Red Dead Redemption 2 game because I don't have it yet. We know that. You just barely announced it. But give us something. Next time, give us something. That's what I recommend. All right, what was another one? Life is Strange. Did you watch any trailers for that one?
The Before the Storm prequel. I never finished Life is Strange, the original, so I'm not terribly excited for it. I'm it's 3 episodes, so it's shorter. And as a prequel, hopefully, if I might look into it and then see if it revives my interest in finishing the first one. The problem with those games is I basically got burnt out hard from Telltale. And the story goes wide and then just back down to narrow for the end. Your decisions matter for about 20 minutes.
Yeah, they try to give you the illusion that your choices matter, but nobody really wants to flesh out a huge decision tree where that actually makes sense and do the animation for everything about it. So it is an illusion, it is a fake, and everything kind of generally ends up in the same no matter what you do. Yeah.
Usually because publishers or whoever's funding a game isn't going to dump a bunch of money into stuff that people might not see. They'll just be like, well, that's a whole lot of wasted money. But it would make the game way better.
If you have 87 different distinct outcomes, you're going to split your player base. 3% of them will see outcome number 86, but you have to spend as much time on that one as you do on 85, and that's a hard sell for the publisher for sure. I mean, as far as expansive gameplay goes, where they really fleshed it out, The Witcher does the best job with it, but most of the stuff you do really has no bearing on how the game turns out. I mean, I haven't really investigated this too much because I'm just happy with how my playthrough finished. I don't want to have regrets, but there are good endings versus bad endings. Endings where people die, endings where Geralt ends up with somebody else, but everything is generally the same thing, which it's understandable because, like we said, programming multiple endings is fairly impossible to do it on a budget. Any interest in Monster Hunter?
No.
Okay. How about the 8th time you've purchased Skyrim VR?
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely going to be totally excited for when I get a VR headset. They're really expensive in Australia. Really.
Yes. I mean, they're not cheap here either, but I can understand that. Everything I've heard about Australia is that it's about 8,000 times more expensive than anything here for reasons I don't understand.
It's a long way away, so shipping
fair.
Yeah.
But why are digital games are more expensive, right?
They are.
Yeah. So I say
yeah. I should just leave.
So here's the thing, why is Skyrim the everything game? I mean, I guess it sold a hajillion copies and everybody's played it, but everybody's played it. Everybody's played it to completion.
And it doesn't look like it does anything different with VR like Doom kind of does. It just looks like I'm teleporting as I walk, and now I'm still doing the kind of boring combat that Skyrim had, where it was, if you played a mage, it was just hold left mouse button.
Right. Yeah. You're a blowtorch now. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or I played it, again, this is my play style for pretty much every game if I can. Stealth bowman. So I would get stealth. I'd get a longbow. I'd shoot people from as far away as possible. They would never see me before they died. And that just gives me a lot of pleasure. A lot of happiness is that way of playing it. So it does look like the bow mechanics, at least you're doing some kind of hold the bow, draw the string back, release kind of thing, right?
Yeah. I mean, that gives it a little bit of interactivity.
Yeah. but it's not enough. Like, it's not enough for me to get VR just for Skyrim VR. There's nothing about that compels me to do it.
And I think getting VR, it will amplify the problems that I had with the leveling system, because when you're doing the motion of pulling back a bowstring, you expect it to have a little more weight for it than it's going to do X amount of damage. With Skyrim, if you played as like someone who was, I'm going to do a lot of blacksmith and crafting and get those levels up and be a trader and a barter, if you just did that for fun, you would slowly out level where you were putting skill points into for combat, and then you would go back out, and because everything's scaled, the first battle you run into, you have no combat skills, and you're out leveled by the enemies.
Yeah. It's a problem. There are definitely problems in the leveling system in pretty much all of the Bethesda's. Elder Scrolls games. Like, there's a word for this. Oblivion, Morrowind. What's the Elder Scrolls? Got it. Nailed it. So yes, I'm just there's gonna be a killer app for VR. There's gonna be something that convinces everybody to get the VR, but we don't have it yet, and Skyrim's not the answer. Do you want to do a quick StarCraft minute?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're listening to this, you probably know already, but I cast the open rounds of the WCS Jönköping tournament held in Sweden over the weekend. I cast it with the Nidus, which is a great organization over on Twitch, with Turd Zergler. He was my co-caster out of Colorado. It still blows my mind. I can cast a tournament that's being held in Switzerland with a guy in Colorado while I'm in Utah, all at the same place, because the future is crazy. But bottom line, I cast for 8.5 hours. It was a great experience. I'd love to do it again. I think I will have the opportunity again as well. I'd like to cast one day the round of 16. So speaking of the round of 16, I just want to say, are you familiar with how this played out? You were able to watch any of this?
No.
Okay.
I did get spoiled about an hour and 20 minutes ago on who won the whole thing.
Okay. So we're going to talk StarCraft spoilers here, I think, for the rest of the cast or the rest of the podcast. So
Yeah.
if you don't want to be spoiled, which if you're a huge StarCraft fan, you probably should know this on some level already, but we're warning you and you should just bail right now.
Yeah.
All right. So here's how let's check this out. There were 2 Protoss in the round of 16. Two. Petit Drogo and Neeb.
Huh.
And then Neeb wins the whole thing. He beats he beats Special, who's killing it lately. He 3-0s Kelazur, and then he beats Serral, a really strong Zerg in the final, 4-3. So, and that's 2 in a row. He won WCS Austin as well. So Neeb is definitely on the rise as one of the best foreign Protoss that we have ever seen. I mean, he's killing it right now.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's if you watch his games, he's not just doing the same thing either. Like, he's doing a good job adjusting to what the Zerg players are doing. He's using everything in the Protoss arsenal. I've seen him use Void Rays in PvZ to great effect, but I'm like, Void Rays aren't good against Zerg. And then somehow he just kicks butt with them. And I'm like, how? Because it's Neeb. Colossus Disruptors. The force fields are godlike. The micro is on fire. He's just killing it. So if you're a Protoss fan, it's a good time to be a Protoss fan, because Neeb is incredible. Yep. And the other thing is, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There were 10 Zergs. 10 Zergs in the round of 16. Like
4 Terrans then, yeah?
Yeah. Euthermal, Semper, Kelazur, and Special, who did good. Like, I think all 4 of them. Well, they couldn't. There was a TVT in the round of 16, but 3 of the 4 made it to the round of 5. So, I mean, they represented, but it's so Zerg. What's crazy is like the situation where I think the game is a little bit in favor of Zerg. I don't think it's crazy in favor of the Zerg race, but they're really good. It's just Neeb is good enough to overcome the advantages that Zerg have to win. I mean, it's a situation I don't think we see a whole lot of.
What makes you say it's in favor of Zerg? Other than the fact that there was 10 of them.
Yeah, so it's just little things. I think... So one thing I think that Zergs have managed to figure out is that Ravagers are just good in pretty much all situation. Partially because they're not armored or light, which is something I think people have made mention of. I don't know how much attention it gets with the actual cast. So it doesn't take bonus damage from stuff that does extra to light. It doesn't take bonus damage from stuff that does extra to armored. So tanks aren't that great against them. Marauders aren't that great against them. But at the same time, things that are great against light also don't get that bonus either, like Hellions. So you can get Ravagers in your army, Corrosive Biles are good at zoning. They're not so much good at doing damage except against stationary targets. But as far as forcing the other army to move, because taking a Corrosive Bile to the head is bad news, they're just a really good utility type unit that isn't super micro intensive, but that's just kind of one of the things that the Zergs have been enjoying lately, at least in Legacy of the Void that I've seen.
Okay. Well, it's hard to argue against any of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you're right,
And then and as far as ZVP goes in particular, this Hydra Baneling style, which I'm sure you've seen, right? You've caused somebody going Hydra Baneling against Protoss. Yes?
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty much the meta right now. And it's just hard for Protoss to deal with. Banelings destroy Zealots and Adepts. You got to use a lot of force fields on them. If you're focusing on the Banelings, the Hydras are doing a lot of damage because they're glass cannons and they hit really hard unless they're being directly attacked. And so it's a synergy that Zergs have figured out. And again, nothing's new here, right? Banelings and Hydras are not new to StarCraft 2
been a while,
by any
been around
stretch.
For a little while.
A little while. Hydras did get that 90 hit point buff. I mean, not that.
And didn't Banelings get a 5 HP buff?
Yes. So they got some little tanky buff there as well. So again, it's just little advantages. It doesn't mean you can't beat them, obviously, as Neeb showed us. But it's an interesting trend. And I wonder if we're going to see some balance changes to kind of take away some of those tiny advantages Zerg have, maybe let it swing back the other way. But it's hard to do it as long as Neeb is winning entire tournaments to say that Zerg is overpowered, because if that was straight up the case, it'd be a Zerg standing on that podium, you know? Or unless it's just a matter of get good Zerg, like you have advantages and you still can't beat Neeb. Which I'm sure a lot of people firmly believe.
It's possible that people believe that, but I think at the end of the day, it really does come down to I think Protoss and Terran just kind of need to work things out for beating. Any race just kind of need to work things out a little bit more. I can't talk to the balance of StarCraft as a gold level player. Usually what I find is a lot of people will go, this is overpowered, that's overpowered, nerf this, buff that, and I just think, could we just try and work out something first before, just throwing slapdash patches on everything?
Yeah, and that's part of the beauty of StarCraft is it's evolving. The strategies of today are different from the strategies of a year ago, which are different from the strategies of the year before that. It's not a static game. And it's not because of balance patches entirely. It's because players are experimenting and they're looking for new ways to use existing units and existing abilities in newfound ways to win. And I think that the best players can do that, and the best players will keep doing that, which is why I love this game.
Yeah.
It's great.
Talent will shine through above.
Yeah. Yes. All right, so that's my soapbox. That is my Zerg minute. Should we wrap it up, or do you have anything else we should talk about today?
There is a couple things I wanted to talk about. Did you see... I'm going to take it back to E3, but you reminded me when you said the word cast. Did you see the Darwin Project?
I think I missed that one.
It's another survival game, battle royale survival game. But the presentation had a surprise halfway through, a shoutcaster for it, live on the stage. And it was like, what are you saying? Nobody knows what anything is about this game, and you're yelling about how some guy's in a house and he has the advantage for it. And then because Microsoft's trying to push Mixer, their streaming service, they had, during the middle of the shoutcast, he goes, someone from Mixer decided to chime in, and apparently you're going to be people in the chat can get onto the screen. I couldn't imagine Twitch chat scrolling by on a StarCraft game and having all the casters being able to see it with everyone else who's watching it. It's right there next to when you're watching the live matches, but I usually kind of close that off.
Yeah. Well, if it's... Okay, so here's how this works. If it's live commenting, it needs to be either incredibly well curated, somebody who knows what they're doing is watching these and kicking the ones out that shouldn't be on TV, right?
Yeah.
Or it's insanity, and you get a bunch of garbage up there. So it's a hard thing to do.
Yeah. What caught me out about it, the guy casting it, he only brought mention that somebody had said something, not what they said.
That's the way to show it off, yeah.
And I went back and tried to have a look, and I couldn't even see what, like, it came up as like a big circle, being like somebody from Mixer, and I guess it had their comment there, but I just couldn't read.
Sure.
And also, who's going to use Mixer?
Some people, not enough, probably not. So I'm watching the trailer. The art style is interesting. The art, what does it remind me of?
Battleborn.
Yeah, a lot of Battleborn. Good call. Yep. So Hunger Games. So you drop people into a wilderness. They try to kill each other to win something or just survive, I guess.
Yeah, to just win.
Just win.
The other interesting thing about the Darwin Project is they announced it, I think, 2 games after they said that PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds is coming exclusively to the Xbox.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so they paid a bunch of money to get 2 exclusive Battle Royale games to compete on the same platform.
Smart.
Yeah.
Smart. And by that I mean not smart. Oh, this person just went invisible.
I think that's another thing that's there. The person from Mixer gave them that buff, the invisibility buff, or an invincibility buff, if you kind of look at it.
Yeah, so like in the Hunger Games where you're watching, you can give your favorite contestant some advantages. I kind of like that. That's fun.
It could be interesting.
Yeah.
Who knows?
So just they really emphasize viewer engagement then, which could go either way, I suppose.
Right, but it really kind of lends to how do the viewers engage? Do they have to pay microtransactions to engage with someone in a match? How long are the matches? How often are the matches? Because you'll get someone who's, I might try this microtransaction to see what happens, but you're not going to have that happening in every game ever, so you can't really sell the game based on that feature.
Yeah.
Unless it's free, but when you reduce the cost of anything, the amount of people who are going to use it is infinite.
Right. And then it gets unwieldy.
Yeah.
Huh.
Could you imagine playing a Battle Royale game where everyone's invisible?
Yes. It sounds terrible. Which is very silly. Maybe not as competitive or fun, but silly. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll keep an eye on that one. That does sound interesting. Obviously, they can go different ways with it, but I'll put it on the list for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So anything else you wanted to hit off here?
No, I guess that's about it, really. There's some other stuff on my list from E3, but most of it's just didn't see enough, won't be out for a year.
Yeah.
I actually forgot, I do have something else.
Okay, go ahead.
Yep. So I sent out a request to a graphic designer for a new logo, and I believe I can share that through Skype. I worked out how to use it.
On the fly.
The size is gigantic. It is 5,800 by 5,800 pixels.
Okay, that should be big enough for iTunes.
It should be. Okay,
it's coming through. It's coming through.
Australian upload speeds.
Yeah, I got it. No, canceled. No, download. I guess it's too bad. I thought it was stuck, but it's just downloading because it's ginormous. Okay, here we go. And view. Can I view it, Skype? Yeah, there it is. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I like that. Are you a bunny?
Yeah, that's my logo. I'm a bunny.
Aw.
Rabbits are cute.
That's
Sue me.
The rabbit and falcon hour. That's a little dangerous for one of those parties.
Are you planning on eating me alive at any point?
It's nature. Like, you can't get mad about nature. It's the food chain. Like, that's a direct link in the food chain is rodents and birds of prey.
Wow. I think you just described me as a rodent.
Rabbits are rodents.
They're adorable is what they are. We're not rats, damn it.
Genetically, you are, basically.
Basically.
Nice. I like it. I like the colors. It reminds me of fall, which is coming up, I suppose.
Oh, autumn, right.
Autumn. Yes. Do you not call it fall in Australia?
No.
Not really. Yes. All right. Well, we'll wrap it up here then. Again, check out the notes section for links to what we talked about, especially the Rabid Peach Instagram account, which I guarantee will make your day. Hit that subscribe if you want to catch us every single week here on the Falcon Paladin Hour. And until next time, as always, thanks for joining us, and you take care of yourself.